3 dragons won't make it.
Now, there are a few ways of interpreting this sentence. Are you thinking, like, not all 3 of them will make it, or none of them will make it?
I like the idea that none of them will make it, but they could have, like, different fates.
I concur. I think that at least one of them will make it to Westeros, but it'd be neat if they all died before the end. I do kind of like the ending for Drogon in the show. Hate me if you want to. But him flying away with Daenerys' corpse, I mean, I hate that it's with Daenerys' corpse, but like that's okay.
Yeah, and that sort of does have a precedent with like Sheep Stealer and like Cannibal and some of those sort of like rogue dragons, you know. And I suppose like even if they did kill Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal, there are still dragons in the Shadowlands of Ashai, right? Because there's like multiple lines in the books that just offhandedly mention like Bran saw dragons stirring beneath the sunrise in the Shadowlands. And there are dragons over there. So like I guess like the total extinction of dragons is not something that can happen anyway because like it is so heavily hinted that there are wild dragons anyway.
Oh, I wasn't coming at it from the angle that, you know, this would be all the dragons in the world are now dead. It's like the 3 dragons that Daenerys was using as her instruments of conquest are now gone. Yeah. That was my angle on this.
The reason why I think it makes a lot of sense for all the dragons to die is because it seems as though the dragons and the birth of the dragons is connected to like the rising tide of magic in the world with like, you know, Quaithe says that firebender dude is like more powerful because of the dragons. And like George has said that
Urathon, is it Nightwalker or some shit like that?
Yeah, fucking Candlewalker Turtle Man. There's a whole list of like proper nouns in that sentence. It's the most like dense. It's like how much high fantasy gobbledygook can Gurm fit into one paragraph is like that line. But like the dragons are connected to the rising tide of magic, and to me that means that's connected to the seasons because George Martin has said that like the irregular seasons in the world are connected to magic, and he also has said that they will be resolved by the end of the story. Yeah. So that says to me that like the seasons will be restored into regularity at the end of the series, and I figure that that means that magic and therefore the dragons have to die, or you know maybe they enter some sort of equilibrium where they just go off and you know are in balance with the White Walkers or some shit.
That's interesting that you say that the seasons would be restored to like a regular cycle by the story's end, because isn't the entire history of Westeros presented to us as having that quirk, like as far back as records go?
But yeah, but if you go far back enough, you go to the Long Night.
Yeah, which is like
you might
see... bullshit.
Yeah, but like there's pretty good evidence that the Long Night happened. Like that mythology didn't come out of nowhere. And there's a lot of like ruins and like Ashai and like I think there's like evidence that the Long Night happened. And my guess would be is that if the Long Night was the first Long Night, and I don't know if it was, but I would imagine that the first Long Night was the cause for the irregular seasons. Like something just threw the fucking magical wimwam out of whack and it needs restoration and balance to be restored.
Yeah, okay. But instead of something like physical and astronomical.
Daenerys enters the meridian of the Virgo cluster, so summer ends.
Jon Snow can't be resurrected because he's a Scorpio.
Yeah. Melisandre would be so into astrology. Melisandre is such a Pisces.
You reckon?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So where do we want to put 3 dragons won't make it? Because it means a couple of different ideas. So we're gonna have to like group them together.
I'm putting it on the hard right.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. I really do like the idea that they're not all gonna make it, and it seems like a pretty Gurmy kind of thing to do, right?
And I mean, this show is a pretty big hint. Like the death of Viserion, the death of Rhaegal. The disappearance of Drogon.
Yeah.
I think something along those lines. And like Dragonbinder in the hands of Victarion and Euron.
Yeah,
like,
that can't be good for them. Yeah.
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 I can't be healthy for a lizard.
Being in the clutches of a insane magical pirate.
Yeah.
It's great. I've never
You would
felt
not get
safer.
a life insurance plan.